At least 20 people have been killed in a mosque attack in Adamawa State. More than a dozen others are injured. Police say 2 suicide bombers struck in the northeastern town of Mubi on Tuesday. The attack bears the hallmarks of Boko Haram. However, no group has claimed responsibility yet. Now, this follows last week's attack in Maiduguri in Borno State, in which 4 people were killed. Well, for more details on this, we're now joined by Deji Badmus in Lagos, Nigeria. Deji, what more can you tell us about this latest incident? Have any more details emerged about those blasts in Mubi?
Absolutely, Lindy. Well, more details have emerged. Actually, twin blast. We had 2 suicide bombers who carried out this attack. One of the suicide bombers actually mingled with worshippers who had actually gone to the mosque to pray. And 5 minutes before the prayer started, this suicide bomber now detonated his explosive. And then just as people were rushing out of the mosque, another one, they were rushing actually to a nearby market, and another suicide bomber detonated another explosives. We do not have details of, official details now of the casualty figure, but from the hospital, we're hearing sources saying that there are about 37 dead bodies brought into the hospital, and that the casualty figure might go up. But there's still nothing official yet from the government. But the police initially, when this happened, the police gave a figure of around 20. Of course, that number might eventually turn up higher. But as we speak now, there is no concrete official figure. But no doubt, 2 suicide bombers attacked a mosque and a nearby market.
And we know that as yet no group has claimed responsibility for this attack. But of course it does bear the hallmarks of Boko Haram. As we know, Deji, the government has repeatedly insisted that this insurgency is under control. The militants have been driven out of their strongholds. But attacks like this, the second in 2 weeks now, paints a very different picture. Does it mean the group has perhaps changed its tactics?
I mean, the group actually changed the tactics a long time ago. You don't have a situation where the group actually attacks and hold communities. The group has actually changed into a proper guerrilla-style kind of warfare now. That's what they're using, and some security experts have described this as asymmetric warfare. And what we have seen over time is that they continue to carry out hit-and-run attacks and suicide bombing attacks like this. So, but what security agencies and the government would tell you is that it does not mean that Boko Haram, it does not mean Boko Haram is on some kind of resurgence, that this is what you get with fighting terrorism, that you don't expect that the bombings will stop completely just because the government says Boko Haram has been technically defeated, that you're going to continue to have situations like this. But the bottom line is that you look at this whole thing, you do your own personal assessment, even when you're not a security expert. You can't but conclude that this is a failure of intelligence, because up till this moment, the military or the intelligence community in this country have not been able to pinpoint or locate where these guys are, where they're sending these suicide bombers from, who the suicide bombers are, where they're being prepared to go and carry out their deadly missions. So that is the critical missing link here, and everybody hopes that now that the United States is pledged to share intelligence with Nigeria, I mean, going by what President Trump said yesterday, that we will see an improvement in the situation. But to make any decisive difference in this fight against Boko Haram, intelligence is key, and that's what most military experts, security experts have said, and that's where the country's intelligence community is still failing, so to speak.
Indeed, and those intelligence failures having devastating consequences. Thanks very much, Deji Badmus, joining us there live from Lagos. And as he says, at this point, the death toll from twin suicide blasts today is currently at 20, but it is expected to rise.